Hello students, I am Grishma Dalal from Faculty of Pharmacy, Dr. Subhash Technical Campus. In Pharmaceutical Engineering, we are going to focus on size reduction basics. So let's start. Basics of size reduction. For understanding size reduction and other equipments that are related to size reduction, you need to clear the basics of size reduction. So, first of all, we are going to start with the definition itself. Size reduction is a process of reducing large solid masses into small unit masses, that is coarse particle or fine particles. So, if you think into deep, then there are particles are you can classify into two types, coarse particles and fine particles. Coarse are little bit big in size and fines are very small in size. It is also known as comminution. Please remember this name. It can be helpful in GPAT examination. This is the synonym of size reduction. Is the another term that is used for size reduction. Size reduction generally can be achieved in two ways. First of all is precipitation method. In precipitation method, substance is dissolved in an appropriate solvent. Subsequently, it is finely precipitated by addition of another solvent which is miscible with the first one. But in the later, the substance is insoluble. And this method is really helpful in the production of raw materials and bulk drugs. Inorganic chemicals such as calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate and yellow mercuric oxide are prepared by precipitation method. Other methods can be crystallization and drying a fine spray of solution. Next method in the mechanical method. In the mechanical method or mechanical process, substance is subjected to mechanical force using grinding equipment, that is ball mill, roller mill, colloid mill, which you will study detail in this size reduction chapter. In general, dry grinding or milling is used in the production of tablet and capsule, while wet grinding is used in preparation of suspension, emulsion and ointment, which you will learn in your coming semester. The method of milling is applied either in production of raw material or as a part of production cycle in the manufacture of dosage form. So, mechanical process in overall is really helpful in pharmaceutical field and you will realize it once you study the equipments. So, first of all, we are going to focus what are the advantages of size reduction. Size reduction have a lot of advantages such as first is content uniformity. Mixing of different ingredients can be effective if particle size is uniform and small. Size reduction ensures this objective. Particles of optimum size are desirable for effective mixing. As the particle size is small, the number of particles per unit weight or dose you can say is large. The larger number of particles, the better is the mixing. The better content uniformity can be obtained for a given dose. This is particularly important in formulations containing potent and low dose drugs. Next is uniform flow. Smaller particle size and controlled size distribution promote the flow of powder into dyes during compression of the tablet, which you will study in your coming semesters. The same principle are used in the production of capsule. Next is effective extraction of the drugs. Smaller particles allow rapid penetration of the menstruum or solvent into the tissue or cells of vegetable and animal origin. As a result, extraction or leaching of active constituents become effective and complete in preparation of galanicals. The time required for extraction can be shortened. For example, pancreas is subjected to grinding action for extraction of insulin. Normally, fine powders are preferred for compound powders, while moderately coarse powder are used for preparation of tincture. Coarse powder without fines is employed in percolation process. So this way, effective extraction of drug is happen when you perform size reduction. Next is effective drying. Drying of a granular mass can be rapid and effective if the size of granule is small and uniform. Such techniques are used in the production of tablet. Similarly, drying of medicinal plant can also be quick and fast after size reduction. Next is improved physical stability. In case of suspension and emulsion, the rate of sedimentation decreases to a large extent if the particle size is small. Next is improved dissolution rate. Size reduction increases the surface area which facilitates intimate contact of solid particles and gastric or intestinal juices. Thus, the rate of dissolution enhances. For example, size reduction of griseofulvin led to development of oral dosage regimen with a dose half that of originally marketed product. In case of insufflations, preparations inhaled directly into the lungs. The drug should be usually smaller than about 5 micrometer. That is why micronized powder of aspirin is used in preparation of tablet. Microfined Aspro, that is analgesic and anti-inflammatory agent that is available in market. Next and the last is improved rate of absorption. The smaller the particle, the faster is the absorption, and because of that it will increase the dissolution. Please remember this, the smaller the particle, the faster is the absorption. Because of that it will lead to increase in dissolution. Chloramphenicol has shown to absorb faster when given with particle size of 50 micrometer compared to particle size of 400 micrometer. Keeping in view of the advantages, Pharmacopoeia has specified particle size as a quality control tool. For example, an antifungal antibiotic drug, that is griseofulvin, should have surface area of not less than 1300 to 1700 meters square per kilogram as per IP. If it is less, the absorption of the drug will simultaneously decrease. Now, let us go through some of the disadvantages. Disadvantages of size reduction are: number 1, drug degradation. Drug decomposition or degradation is possible due to the heat produced during milling. You will soon realize when you perform the practicals on your own. Thermolabile substances are the most affected. The increased surface area also facilitates drug decomposition owing to enhanced dissolution. Cooling support systems are provided to decrease the heat in milling equipment. Drugs containing waxy material become soft due to heat generated during milling. Therefore, the feed is chilled before milling. Next is poor mixing. Normally, very few particles possess strong cohesive forces, hence aggregation of particles is possible. I repeat, normally, very small particles possess strong cohesive forces, hence aggregation of particles is possible. Aggregation inhibits the effective blending of different additives. An increase in surface area may promote the adsorption of air, which may inhibit wettability of the drug during production. Therefore, optimum particle size is desirable to improve the blending and to avoid poor mixing. You have to be really careful when you go through size reduction, as it can also sometimes lead to poor mixing. Next is contamination. You can easily tell that by grinding and milling and mixing. The grinding surfaces or the milling surfaces will wear off, the particles of which are present as impurities in the powder, and that will get mixed with API and ingredient. Such type of mills should be avoided when drug of high purity are required. So as you can see, By studying this much advantages, disadvantages, the importance of size reduction is so profound that it is used in production of all dosage forms such as tablet, capsule, suspension, emulsion, injections and galenicals. The principle of size reduction, construction and working you will study in this chapter. So study very nicely. But first of all, you have to study mechanism of size reduction. So first of all, we are going to focus on basic of mechanism, that is, they are demonstrated that stress of varied nature, that is different nature, are required to achieve size reduction, and these are some of the common modes. So the first one is cutting. The material is cut by means of sharp blade. Here blades are used to cut the material. It is useful for comminution of fibrous or waxy solid. Example is cutter mill. Second one is compression. In this mode, material is crushed between the rollers by applying pressure on them. Example, roller mill. Third is impact. This involves the operation of hammers or bars at high speed. When a lump of material strikes the rotating hammers, the material splits apart. This action continues until particles of required size are obtained. And the example is hammer mill. Fourth and the last is this attrition. This process involves breaking down of material by rubbing action between two surfaces, that is surface phenomena. It is generally necessary for fine grinding. Example is fluid energy mill. Now as you can see, cutting, compression, impact, attrition, these four are the basic modes of size reduction. You have to remember these four mechanisms, or you can also say modes of size reduction. This will be helpful in your GPAT examinations or any competitive examinations. For remembering these modes of mechanism, you can remember by using this trick, that is the first alphabet of each mode, that is CCIA, or you can also memorize C square IA. For first C it is cutting, for second C it is compression, I means impact and A means attrition. So this will help you in your competitive exams or even in your theory exams. So there are basic mode of size reduction mechanism. Now let us understand a little bit deep understanding size reduction. The mechanism of size reduction may change with the nature of material. Therefore, each drug may require a separate treatment. The theoretical strength of a crystalline material can be calculated from interatomic attractive and repulsive forces. The strength of material in reality is found to be many times lesser than the theoretical value. This discrepancy is explained in terms of flaws of various kinds. Now, to understand this size reduction, first you have to understand that the mechanism of size reduction will definitely change if you change the material, right? Because every material has different nature. Therefore, each drug should and it will by default require a separate treatment. Now, if you see, if we are talking about strength, any strength of any crystalline material, you can calculate based on interatomic attractive force and repulsive forces. This strength of material in reality is found to be many times less than the theoretical value. In reality, whichever material you take, it will have less strength than you calculate. And this is explained by the word flaws. Flaws is nothing but there is some kind of problem. The strength of the material therefore depends on the distribution of the flaws, and that is the only reason why particles have flaws. Now, particles that are amorphous, crystalline and flawed. We will see this second point After we continue our next portion, weak parts in the particles. Because there are flawed particles, the particles are already weak in reality. Stress, if you apply stress such as impact, shear, compression, this will lead to develop into cracks which will lead to cleavage. When stress is in form of attrition is developed, the particle surface chip and produce small particles. This is how exactly size reduction works. But are you confused about something in this? Then let me continue. Now try to understand this way. Particles, when they are amorphous or crystalline, in reality they all are flawed, which means they will already have flaws in them in comparison to your theoretical calculations. So, because they are flawed, weak parts in particle will be definitely present. Now, when you will apply stress on them, like impact, shear, compression, this will lead to developing cracks in them, which will lead to cleavage, that is nothing but the breakdown. When the bigger particles cleave or break down, then they will be distributed or break down into small particles. This is the ultimate size reduction mode. Thank you so much. We will continue size reduction in our next video, that is size reduction 1.2. So please stay tuned. Thank you.